Good evening, everyone. Is Dr. Kane not joining us?
She's currently occupied with an autopsy. I'm sure she'll join us later.
Ah, I see. Let's get started then. After speaking with the good general over the past few weeks, I'm pleased to finally make all your acquaintances. I'm sure you all have questions about myself, the state of the Enclave as a whole, and about our next steps. Now, do understand that in the interests of national security, I can only say so much. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I am Henry Matthews, Senator representing the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I was elected by your peers to this prestigious position after the untimely death of Senator Clark at this very base. I've been sent here at the President's behest to oversee your progress and to ensure the Commonwealth is brought back into the fold. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. Who is the president? I sorta lost track after eating.
Given recent events, the President's identity is classified. It's kept on a need-to-know basis. And my good man, you most certainly do not need to know. Nothing personal, you understand?
Where is High Command?
Sheesh.
Do we still have a central headquarters?
Well, I'm pleased to inform you that one of the Joint Chiefs is actually right here with you. General Ward was recently appointed chairman.
An honor, truly.
I'm sure it is. As for the location of High Command, what I will say is we have shifted to more of a distributed structure. That being said, our largest active facility is Mount Weather. Most of the personnel I brought with me was stationed there. How about you? Lieutenant, was it? Any questions from you?
She was just promoted to captain, actually.
A far more appropriate rank from what I've heard. So, any...
Forgive the intrusion, gentlemen. I have made a troublesome discovery.
What seems to be the problem, Doctor?
This autopsy, I was certain I would find a way to identify they were a synth. However, I was mistaken. If I didn't know any better, I'd have thought this was simply a vault dweller. It was only once I began the brain biopsy that it became clear it was a synth. There was the circuitry, a lot of it, embedded deep within the brain tissue. Central to it, in fact. It's the only telltale sign I could find. These Institute synths, I heard they were lifelike, but seeing one in person, it's both incredible and harrowing.
It's like I told you. There's no way of telling a synth apart from a human unless you kill it. That's why people fear the Institute.
Yes, Colonel, you made your point.
The Institute has been on our radar for a long time now. Our agents have looked into numerous Institute-related incidents in the past, but have never been able to pinpoint the Institute's location itself. With how little we know of them, they could very well be our biggest threat. I'll come back to this in a moment. Now that we have you, Dr. Kane, how has work on the FEV been going?
I've made some promising adjustments to the genetic markers it targets, but truthfully, progress is slow. We're struggling with the lab's power supply. There isn't enough to keep the FEV compound stable for more than a few seconds at a time. We can only run tests for a handful of seconds at a time, and only every few hours. Unless we have more power.
Myers, is there anything you can do about that?
Well, we could always shut down the factory, like we did last time.
That's not an option.
Agreed.
Only other option is to upgrade the reactors, which is easier said than done. Leave it with me. I'll think of something.
That's your priority now, Myers. See it done.
Good. So, to summarize our priorities, Chief Engineer Myers, get us more power. Dr. Kane, you keep working on the FEV. This comes directly from the President. Everyone else, it's about time we find a way into the Institute. We must know what we're dealing with once and for all. And I insist the Captain spearhead this mission. They look like the type that get things done. Before I forget, Captain, I brought an exceptional doctor with me. You should have your medical with him in the first instance. Make sure you're at your best and all that. But First, General Ward and I will see you in my office. Now.
Excuse me, Doctor.
A moment of your time, please. Despite all the test subjects, I appear to find myself in an awkward situation. You see, there's only so much blood you can draw while still maintaining the integrity of said subjects. If you happen to encounter any particularly interesting creatures during your travels, would you mind taking a blood sample for me?
Will every creature yield viable blood samples?
I'd ask you to exercise your best judgment. It's not the quantity I get, but the quality. Just draw the blood of particularly interesting specimens, please.
Wasn't planning on getting killed for science anytime soon.
I wouldn't expect you to. I'm assuming you plan to venture to the wasteland again. This is simply if you happen to find an interesting creature. For each sample you bring me, I'll pay you in those bottle caps everyone seems to be using these days.
What's the story with this place?
Yes, an oil rig with no oil. I don't know how the press never caught on. It's loosely modeled on another offshore platform out in the Pacific Ocean, although far smaller. Far from the coast and equipped with a state-of-the-art lab and factory, it was key to the continuation of government after the inevitable nuclear war. I was so excited when I found out I was being transferred to it.
I've got some right here.
Excellent, thank you. Here are some bottle caps, as we agreed.
I've got some right here.
Excellent, thank you. Here are some bottle caps, as we agreed.
I've got some right here.
These will do nicely. Here are some bottle